Ryan Holtz never planned to be a police officer. His real dream was bigger, wilder, flying bush planes across the plains of Africa as a missionary pilot, delivering aid to people in the most unreachable corners of the world. He got his pilot's license at 17, went to college, earned aviation maintenance degrees. Africa felt close enough to touch Ryan Holtz. I always thought, if everything else fails, I'll just go be a cop. But something happened during training. Ryan began to see that the people who needed help the most were not in some distant land. They were right here, on the streets of Albuquerque, behind gas stations, in alleyways, invisible to most, but not to him, Ryan Holtz. People like to think that the people who need help are the people over there. They never stop and look around and say, the people here need help. So Ryan stayed. He graduated from the academy in 2011 and took to the streets. By September 2017, he was 6 years in, a veteran officer with 4 children at home, all under the age of 5, and a wife named Rebecca who matched his heartbeat for beat. It was a Saturday afternoon in September. The call came in as routine as they get, somebody trying to steal beer at a convenience store. By the time Officer Holtz and his trainee arrived, the would-be thief was long gone. He was about to turn back. Then something in the corner of his eye stopped him. Off to the side of the building, half hidden in the grass, a man and a woman, hunched, still. Ryan switched on his body camera and walked toward them. Ryan Holtz. Hello, folks. How you guys doing today? I'm not going to lie. Looks like you guys are getting ready to shoot up over here. Their names were Crystal and Tom, the needles, the nervous hands, the small bag. 6 years had made Ryan fluent in scenes like this. He had seen it all. Or so he believed. As Crystal shifted her body to hide what she could, Ryan saw it. The unmistakable curve of her belly. She was pregnant. 8 months along, when she moved. That's when I noticed that she was very pregnant. Officer Ryan Holtz, the crack in the armor Ryan had trained himself to stay. Professional, detached, controlled, but something in this moment broke through every wall he had. Built over 6 years on the force, Ryan Holtz. Are you pregnant? Why are you going to be doing that stuff? It's going to ruin your baby. Crystal looked up at him and burst into tears. It was clear she had thought about exactly this. Every day, she was just as devastated as he was. Ryan kept asking questions, methodical, careful, until he arrived at the one that changed everything, Ryan Holtz. What do you think is going to happen to your child when it's born? Crystal, the baby is going up for adoption, immediately. Ryan had never, in 6 years, in hundreds of encounters with addicts, heard someone say that. Admit it. Choose it out loud, Ryan Holtz. I have never had anyone who's addicted tell me that they know they can't take care of their child, and that they want the best for their child, and therefore they want someone to take their child and place them in a loving family. Ryan asked Crystal if she had found anyone to adopt the baby. She shook her head. No. He asked for a tissue. It was his excuse, to step away for just a moment. Because his eyes were burning and he was a police officer standing on a public sidewalk and he could not cry. But he was crying. By the time Ryan walked back to Crystal, the decision was already made. He didn't calculate it. He didn't debate it. He simply knew Ryan Holtz. As soon as the words left her mouth, I asked her if she had found anybody, and she told me no. I knew right then that I was going to offer. He turned off his body camera, walked to his patrol car, sat down and breathed. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a photograph of his family. Rebecca, their 4 kids, all those blue eyes. He got back out of the car and walked back to Crystal. He crouched down to her level and held out the photo. Ryan Holtz. I know you're looking for someone to adopt your baby. I know my wife, and I know that she'll say yes. We are willing to adopt your baby if that's what you need. Crystal looked into his eyes. Not to thank him, to check if he was lying. Later, she would say she was searching for any sign of deception, any crack in the offer. She found none. When somebody asks for help, the person who hears is responsible. Officer Ryan Holtz telling. Rebecca on his break. Ryan drove to a nearby going-away party where Rebecca stood holding their youngest, Abigail, 10 months old, balanced on her hip. He pulled her aside. No preamble. No softening. Just the truth, Ryan Holtz. Hey, honey, I just have to let you know. I found this woman today. She's shooting up heroin. She's pregnant, and I offered to adopt her baby. Just wanted to let you know. Rebecca looked at Abigail on her hip, looked back at her husband, and smiled. Rebecca Holtz. Okay, let's do this. Just that. No negotiation. No lengthy discussion. Just, okay. Day after the gas station, Ryan and Rebecca had dinner with Crystal and Tom. All four began planning for the baby's arrival. The Holtzes put them up in a hotel and helped with prenatal care. Weeks early, Crystal went into labor ahead of schedule. The baby was born with heroin and methamphetamine in her system. Ryan was allowed in the delivery room. Days in hospital, Ryan or Rebecca stayed with the baby at all times through painful withdrawals. They held her, sang to her, prayed over her. During one night shift, Ryan named her. The naming feeding the baby in the quiet of the hospital, Ryan whispered, "We have so much hope for you." He called Rebecca. "That's her name." "Yes," she said. "That's her name." After 11 days, Hope Crystal Holtz left the hospital. She went home to 4 siblings, 2 exhausted parents, and a whole future ahead of her. She had the same blue eyes as all the rest. Months later, Crystal and Tom, sponsored by the Holtzes, were both sober. The family was helping them plan careers and stable futures. Ryan called it, seeing them flourish into the best version of who they're capable of being. The White House Sergeant Jim Edison's nomination letter reached the Oval Office. President Trump invited the Holtzes to the State of the Union address and named them before the nation. The chamber rose, both sides of the aisle, in a rare bipartisan standing ovation. Ryan and Rebecca, you embody the goodness of our nation. President Donald Trump, State of the Union address, what the sergeant said. When Sergeant Jim Edison first heard what Ryan had done, he wept. He had spent years teaching young officers how to stay safe, how to go home at the end of a shift. And here was this young man teaching him something he never expected to learn on the job. Sergeant Jim Edison. I'd never met anybody so unselfish. I thought my job was to teach him, to talk to him about going home safe and making Mom proud. And here was this young man teaching me, Sergeant Jim Edison, nomination letter, an act beyond words, beyond expression. And frankly, in my mind, what a servant's heart actually looks like. Epilogue. What Ryan said about all of it, Ryan Holtz. The attention has been unbelievable and unnecessary. That's not what we did it for. We did it for Hope. She's enough of a blessing to do it all over again. We're just trying to use this time to tell the world a message, that maybe it will encourage other people to do what they can to help others. Her name is Hope, and somewhere in Albuquerque, with 4 wild siblings and 2 parents who said yes before they finished thinking about it, a little girl with blue eyes is growing up. Proof that the most extraordinary things in the world sometimes begin with the simplest choice, to stop, to listen, and to say, I hear you.